Hi there, it's Kirk. Glad to have you along for this vinyl roller coaster. Yeah, that's right, it's Vinyl Survival, and that is my top 1,000 vinyl records as recommended by me, and they're all taken from this big wall of vinyl behind me. And that's not to say that any albums over the course of this series that I review that I miss aren't good albums. It just merely may mean that I don't have copies of them on vinyl. But we're going to start today with an eclectic mix of 6. And first one up, I've picked out Irreverence by Faithless. Now this is a remix album, and I believe it was a remix of the album Reverence, which featured such classics by them as Insomnia, you know, I Can't Get No Sleep, all that sort of stuff. But this was a 2001 release, and it was a release of the remix tracks from the 1996 album. But what's interesting on this is we've got some tracks like Flower Stand Man features a very early vocal appearance by Dido, who is actually Rollo from Faithless's sister. They both have the same surname, obviously being brother and sister. They're Rollo Armstrong and Dido Armstrong. Can you tell that they had bohemian parents? But we've also got other tracks on here like Salva Mia, the Way Out West remix, and we've got Reverence, Tasman's Refix, and Soundcheck Jam. So there's some quality tunes on here, and some which I think a lot of people probably recognise from having been in the charts, being big hits back then, but may not necessarily have the album. I mean, Faithless was a group that tended to be big on the singles, but I'm not really quite sure how big the albums were. We're going to move back now to a stone cold classic, and this is Simon and Garfunkel and the album Bookends. And this is, you know, we're going way back on the rewind here. This is from 1968, I believe, although it contains a track from 1967, well, that they recorded in 1967. And it is, of course, the album that features the famous Simon and Garfunkel track, Mrs. Robinson, as used in the soundtrack of the film The Graduate, which I think it's Dustin Hoffman was in that. But also notable tracks on this, we've got Hazy Shade of Winter. This is a track that's been covered by so many people, but still my favourite is the Simon and Garfunkel original here. And also we've got Save the Life of My Child and America. I know America, I think that's been, a feeling that that's been covered by Anything But the Girl, but I could be wrong on that. But certainly this is a great album. Very, very simple black and white sleeve artwork there. We've got the black and white picture of the pair of them, and we've got all the lyrics on the back. Now this was a trend which certainly Sgt. Pepper's by the Beatles was an early subscriber to giving you the lyrics, but I always thought that that was the first, but I may have been corrected on that. The inner sleeve gives you no information whatsoever. In fact, it's just an advert for other artists and records that were on the same label. But definite classic there, and certainly well deserved of being in the 1,000 greatest vinyl records. We now move pretty up to date here now. We've got an album by a group called Foals. This wasn't the first album that they released, but it's certainly the first album that I came to notice them by. It's called Holy Fire, and it features front cover artwork that's actually a photograph that I believe was in the National Geographic some years previously. But this album, some of the tracks on this were really big on radio play, certainly on Radio 1. And I'm a bit out of Radio 1's demographic, but if you listen to it after 7 o'clock in the evening, you know, when Radio 2 goes really crap, then quite often they are showcasing some really good new stuff. And, well, these people aren't exactly new. I think there's certainly 2 albums previous to this, possibly even 3. I should really do some research before these videos. But Inhaler and My Number were 2 big singles of this, and the rest of the album does not disappoint. And it's one that I was motivated to buy it by hearing it on Radio 1 late night, jotted down the name of the group and just went out and found it. So that is another good recommendation from Kirk Classic Incorporated. Now this next one is an album which I came across after we've been playing a game called Dancing Stage Max on the PS2. Yep, that's right, the console that just keeps on giving. And it's a dance mat game, but one of the tracks on that you could dance along to was Drop the Pressure by Milo, and that and hearing Need You Tonight, which includes sampling from Judy Tsuke's Stay With Me Till Dawn, made me actually order and buy a copy of this. Now it's a bit of a backroom production really, insofar as I believe Milo, or the artist behind Milo, recorded this literally in his bedroom, and you'd have thought that that might make a very rough and ready album, but it is a strikingly good album. Got a lot of dance and ambient cuts on here, but certainly this was an inspiration album from the year it came out. Way back in 2004 was really quite a good album, and it's sad to see in a way that Milo kind of came and went. Although with a lot of these dance acts, what you tend to find is they tend to rebrand after every album. But certainly this is one which is deserved of being in the top 1,000 records. Very simplistic, almost punk style artwork, but nevertheless a very good album. Now we're going back on the rewind to 1980s here with a group called Living Colour. And I came across these because I heard them used in the soundtrack of Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, again PS2. The console that keeps on giving, and in the radio stations there, this is one of the tracks that got played a lot, and I just really liked it. Cult of Personality. When you listen to it, it is just such a clever set of lyrics, and also it then resurfaced on one of the Guitar Hero Rock Band franchise. Yeah, that's right, I got a PS2 and I do love it. But very 80s style artwork, even down to pictures of the group with the old sideboard hair and blocky graphics, but nonetheless, great group, great album, and I believe they were produced by Mick Jagger of Rolling Stones fame. And now the final album of the 6 that I've picked for you today, we're going to a 1970s classic here, and this is, well, early 70s, 1972, but this was a 2000 EMI Records re-release. Actually released through the Simply Vinyl label. This was a label which I've mentioned before, really tried to keep the vinyl thing alive in the dark days, the end of the 90s into the early 2000s, when vinyl was kind of really in the doldrums, and they kept on repressing classic albums and releasing them at a really good price. And this is one that I got when that label was in its heyday. And it's Deep Purple live in Osaka in Japan, and it's one which gets parodied a lot. Iron Maiden certainly did their live Japanese album, and they called it Made in Japan, obviously a play on words with Made in Japan by Deep Purple. But we've got a lovely gatefold sleeve here, but inside there's not really a lot. You've got a little bit of track listing, but then we've just got in orange and red. Yeah, it's the 70s, they liked clashing colours. We've just got little band pictures. But really, really standout tracks in this. Well, we've got the track that Deep Purple are well known for, Smoke on the Water, of course. But Highway Star, again, Rock Band Guitar Hero franchises. That's one of the tracks from there, and I know this is getting old hat, PS2, keeps on giving, yeah, yada yada yada. But also we've got Space Trucking, The Mule, and Strange Kind of Woman. And there's a drum solo on this album which has to be seen to be heard, and you can really imagine the drummer just sort of going off and one, almost like Animal from the Muppets, whilst the rest of the band's like, yeah man, yeah, we're just going out back for a smoke and a takeaway, you just keep it together, guys. And then like 5 minutes later they come back spliffed up and ready to kick back on in with those guitars. Anyway, that's my pick of 6 for today. Don't forget to like this video and share it too, and look back through our channel. We've got loads of videos on a vast variety of topics. You take very good care of yourself, my friends, and I shall see you next time.